This video is based on official accident reports and eyewitness accounts. June 10, 1990. A British Airways BAC-111 aircraft takes off from Birmingham Airport for a routine flight to Málaga, Spain. What began as a typical holiday charter service turns into one of aviation's most extraordinary survival stories. Captain Tim Lancaster, First Officer Alastair Aitchison, and 81 passengers are piloting flight BA-530-90. At 17,300 feet over the Oxfordshire countryside, disaster strikes when the cockpit windscreen explodes and separates from the aircraft. The sudden drop in pressure creates a horrific scenario. Captain Lancaster is pulled halfway out of the cockpit window, his body exposed to winds of 300 miles per hour and freezing temperatures at high altitude. Only his legs clinging to the flight controls prevent him from being completely ejected from the aircraft. For 20 dreadful minutes, cabin crew members literally clung to their captain's legs as First Officer Aitchison flew alone, struggling to save the lives of the 87 people on board the damaged aircraft. This is a story of heroic teamwork, incredible piloting skill, and miraculous survival. The incident illustrates how a simple maintenance error, installing the wrong bolts during a windscreen replacement, can lead to catastrophic loss of life. But thanks to extraordinary human courage and determination, they escaped from what should have been an impossible situation. This remarkable story proves that aviation safety depends not only on technology and procedures, but also on the incredible courage of ordinary people faced with extraordinary circumstances. The BAC-111 GBJRT, County of South Glamorgan, with registration number 528 FL, represents 1970s British aviation excellence. This twin-engine, rear-mounted jet has accumulated thousands of flight hours across numerous airlines, reliably serving European routes since entering service in 1971. British Airways purchased the aircraft in 1988 after it had previously served with Bavarian Airlines. The extended 500 series has a capacity of up to 119 passengers and is frequently used on popular holiday routes such as Birmingham, Málaga. Captain Tim Lancaster, 42, comes into the cockpit with an exceptional experience of 1,175 hours on BAC-111 aircraft, including a total of 11,050 flight hours. His aviation career has earned him respect from both colleagues and passengers through years of reliable service. 39-year-old First Officer Alastair Aitchison complements Lancaster's expertise with a total of 7,500 hours and 1,100 hours of aircraft-type experience. This combination of experienced crew provides an excellent capability for safe operations in challenging European airspace. 4 cabin crew members are preparing for a typical Mediterranean charter flight: Susan Gibbons, Nigel Ogden, John Heward, and Simon Rogers. Their training focuses on passenger service and safety procedures, but nothing prepares them for the extraordinary emergency ahead. On this warm June morning, pre-flight preparations are proceeding normally. Weather conditions are perfect for takeoff and the crew's flight to Spain. There are no problems with refueling, passenger boarding, and aircraft systems checks. However, unbeknownst to the crew, a critical maintenance error made during the night creates a time bomb. Incorrect bolts securing the captain's windscreen will trigger disaster by waiting for the altitude and pressure difference. BA-530-90 takes off from runway 15 at Birmingham Airport at 0720 local time under the control of First Officer Aitchison. Standard takeoff procedures guide BAC-111 through controlled airspace toward the European continent. 81 passengers take their seats for a routine 2.5-hour flight to Costa del Sol. While British tourists look forward to their Spanish holidays, the crew prepares for normal service procedures. The handover to Captain Lancaster takes place during the initial climb as the aircraft enters cruise configuration. Both pilots release their shoulder seat belts, and Lancaster loosens his lumbar belt following standard relaxation procedures during non-critical flight phases. Air traffic control guides the flight through various sectors: Birmingham approach, Daventry control, and London control. Standard position reports and altitude clearances proceed smoothly. At 17,000 feet, passengers enjoy the smooth climb conditions as the cabin crew begins preparations for beverage service. The aircraft performs normally with all systems operating within parameters. Captain Lancaster orders breakfast while keeping the autopilot engaged during a routine cruising climb. This momentary relaxation of physical restraints proves nearly fatal when crisis erupts minutes later. The weather is clear and visibility is excellent across southern England. There is no turbulence or meteorological issues affecting the flight path toward the final destination in Spain. The peaceful morning flight conceals a deadly danger lurking within the cockpit structure. The pressure difference increases with altitude, pushing the improperly installed windscreen bolts beyond their inadequate design limits. At 17,300 feet over Didcot, Physics and poor maintenance intersect with explosive consequences that transform a routine charter flight into a life-or-death emergency. At precisely 08:33 local time, while climbing at 17,300 feet over Oxfordshire, disaster struck unexpectedly. The captain's side windscreen exploded from the aircraft with immense force and a deafening roar. The pressure difference between the cabin and the outside atmosphere, 8.5 pounds per square inch, finally overcame the inadequate bolts securing the windscreen panel. Physics triumphed, and the glass ejected from the aircraft. The sudden pressure drop instantly shook the BAC 111 as cabin air poured out through the open windscreen hole. The violent pressure equalization created chaos in the cockpit and passenger cabin. Captain Lancaster, having unbuckled his seatbelt and relaxed, was pulled upward and outward by the immense airflow. The pressure drop forces propelled him headfirst toward the detached windscreen at incredible speed. Miraculously, Lancaster's legs became entangled in the flight control stick, preventing him from being completely ejected from the aircraft. His upper body is outside the cockpit, exposed to winds blowing at 300 miles per hour and temperatures of -17 °C. The Lancaster's legs interfere with the control systems, instantly disengaging the autopilot. As First Officer Acheson tries to understand the unfolding disaster, the plane begins to descend rapidly. The cockpit door explodes inward toward the control console, jamming the throttle controls and causing the plane to accelerate during landing. Flight documents, checklists, and pieces of debris fly through the cockpit opening. Cabin crew member Nigel Ogden leaps forward, grabbing the Lancaster's legs and beginning a 20-minute desperate struggle to prevent his captain from disappearing into the sky. This nightmarish scenario tests every aspect of crew training and human resilience against impossible conditions. Before continuing with this incredible survival story, please subscribe to From the Pilot's Eye for detailed aviation analyses. Your support helps us investigate these extraordinary emergency responses. Now let's return to the BA 53090 survival struggle. Cabin crew member Nigel Ogden displays instant heroism by grabbing Captain Lancaster's legs and holding on with superhuman strength. The immense air current threatens to tear both men from the aircraft. First Officer Acheson faces overwhelming challenges, flying manually without autopilot, managing the explosive pressure drop, and coordinating emergency procedures while the captain hangs outside the cockpit window. The aircraft rapidly descends as Acheson struggles to regain control. Throttle levers jammed by the collapsing cockpit door prevent normal power management, making rescue efforts difficult at this critical stage. Passengers see horrific scenes from the exploding cockpit door. Their captain's body hangs outside the aircraft while crew members desperately cling to his legs. Flight attendants John Heward and Simon Rogers secure loose items throughout the cabin while calming frightened passengers. The crew instructs passengers to assume safety positions in preparation for a possible crash landing. Ogden begins to lose strength after holding the Lancaster against incredible aerodynamic forces for several minutes. Heward and Rogers take turns holding onto each other's legs to hold on tightly. The crew believes the Lancaster is dead. His head repeatedly hits the fuselage as the plane flies through turbulent water. However, Acheson orders them to continue holding on to prevent potential aircraft damage from body separation. Emergency oxygen masks deploy throughout the cabin, and standard decompression procedures are automatically activated. Passengers follow the crew's instructions as they witness an unprecedented aviation emergency. The extraordinary teamwork and determination displayed by the BA 53090 crew becomes legendary in aviation history. First Officer Acheson demonstrates extraordinary piloting skills by regaining control of the aircraft despite the unbelievable conditions. Managing emergency checklists while flying alone tests every aspect of his training and experience. Radio communication with Southampton Approach Control reveals the unprecedented nature of the emergency. "No, sir, Captain. Half the plane has been pulled out. I think it's dead." Air traffic control prioritizes the emergency by clearing the airspace and preparing emergency services for what appears to be an inevitable catastrophe. Controllers struggle to understand the reported situation. Acheson chooses Southampton Airport for the emergency landing, which has sufficient runway length and extensive emergency facilities. The aircraft, being overloaded with fuel, requires careful approach planning for a safe landing. The cabin crew members continue to hold on desperately, clinging to the legs of the Lancaster while preparing the passengers for emergency landing procedures. Their resilience and determination are put to the greatest test during the prolonged crisis. Lancaster's ankles become entangled in the flight controls, hindering Acheson's attempts to position the aircraft for landing. Crew members work to remove the obstruction while maintaining their grip. As news of the extraordinary emergency spreads to aviation authorities, emergency services are mobilized in Southampton. Fire trucks, ambulances, and rescue personnel prepare for an unprecedented rescue operation. Acheson manages fuel consumption, landing speeds, and emergency procedures while battling fatigue and stress. His solo performance under impossible conditions demonstrates his extraordinary professional skills. Despite exposure to extreme wind and cold, his blood circulation maintains some consciousness, and the crew begins to detect signs of life from Lancaster. At 08:55 local time, First Officer Acheson landed BA 5390 on Southampton's runway 20. After a 22-minute aerial nightmare, his delicate approach and landing saved the lives of everyone on board the damaged aircraft. Despite concerns about runway length for the fuel-heavy BAC 111, Acheson demonstrated textbook emergency landing techniques. The aircraft landed smoothly and came to a controlled stop. Emergency services immediately surrounded the aircraft. Fire trucks and ambulances responded to an unprecedented rescue scenario. Ground crews prepared specialized equipment to remove the Lancaster from its precarious position. The captain was conscious but severely injured after enduring the grueling conditions for 20 minutes. Rescue personnel carefully pulled him back into the cockpit through the windscreen opening. While passengers evacuated through the normal doors, emergency medical teams assessed injuries on board. Given the catastrophic nature of the emergency, it was a stroke of luck that there were no fatalities. Captain Lancaster suffered fractures in his elbow, wrist, and thumb and severe frostbite on his exposed hand. His survival after prolonged exposure to freezing winds represents a medical miracle. Cabin crew members are receiving treatment for exhaustion and minor injuries sustained during their heroic efforts. Nigel Ogden was treated for cuts and bruises he received while holding Lancaster's legs. Only one passenger was hospitalized due to shock, while the others are undergoing medical examinations at the terminal. The low injury rate is a testament to the crew's exceptional performance during the crisis. Within hours, a replacement aircraft arrived to complete the passengers' journey to Málaga, but many chose to remain in the UK after their traumatic experience. The Air Accidents Investigation Branch launched a comprehensive investigation into the windscreen failure at Birmingham airport facilities, uncovering shocking maintenance negligence. Investigators found the exploded windscreen panel and 90 fixing bolts scattered in the Oxfordshire countryside near Cholsey, approximately 5 miles from the decompression point. A detailed examination revealed catastrophic maintenance errors. 84 of the bolts used were 0.026 inches too small in diameter, while the other 6 bolts were the correct diameter but 0.1 inches too short. The windscreen had been replaced during routine maintenance just 27 hours prior to the flight. The shift maintenance manager had visually selected replacement bolts without consulting technical documentation. The previous windscreen installation had also used the wrong bolts, setting a precedent for dangerous shortcut practices. The maintenance manager replaced the bolts with the same type without proper verification. The investigation revealed systemic failures in British Airways maintenance culture, inadequate supervision, poor documentation practices, and insufficient quality control procedures. Undersized bolts could not withstand the pressure difference between the cabin and the outside atmosphere at cruising altitude. Engineering analysis confirms inevitable failure under normal operating loads. Researchers criticize maintenance procedures that allowed critical safety tasks to proceed without independent verification. The responsibility of a single individual created a dangerous vulnerability to human error. The windscreen design, mounted from the outside, not the inside, relied entirely on bolt strength against cabin pressure. Without the use of proper bolts, this configuration became vulnerable. The investigation reveals broader maintenance culture issues that go beyond individual errors. At British Airways' Birmingham facility, inadequate oversight of critical safety procedures is at issue. The shift maintenance manager, despite extensive experience and qualifications, failed to follow established procedures for windscreen installation. Fatigue and indifference led to dangerous shortcuts. Local management missed opportunities to identify and correct inadequate standards by not directly monitoring work practices. Quality audits failed to detect systematic procedural violations. Investigators discovered similar bolt discrepancies on other British Airways aircraft, revealing this to be a widespread problem rather than an isolated incident. Fleet audits revealed incorrectly installed additional windscreens. The maintenance failure classification system failed to identify windscreen replacement as a vital point requiring mandatory independent verification. This oversight allowed a single individual to be held responsible for critical tasks. Lack of training regarding correct bolt identification and installation procedures was revealed. Visual similarity between correct and incorrect bolts led to selection errors. British Airways maintenance culture, emphasizing adherence to schedules rather than procedural compliance, created pressure to speed up tasks without proper verification steps. The investigation revealed inadequate tools and equipment at the Birmingham facility. Appropriate measuring instruments could have prevented diameter discrepancies during assembly. Documentation practices were insufficient for tracking bolt specifications and ensuring correct part usage. Computer systems lacked adequate safety measures against incorrect part selection. 8 safety recommendations address training, auditing, procedures, and quality control improvements needed to prevent similar incidents. Thank you for following this extraordinary survival story with Through the Pilot's Eyes. Please subscribe for comprehensive analysis of aviation's most remarkable emergency responses and human courage. First Officer Alastair Atchison, cabin crew Susan Gibbons, and Nigel Ogden receive Queen's Commendation for valuable service in the air, recognizing their exceptional heroism during the crisis. Captain Tim Lancaster makes full recovery from his injuries and returns to flying operations, demonstrating remarkable resilience after surviving 20 minutes outside a flying aircraft. The incident transforms British Airways maintenance procedures through comprehensive safety reforms. Enhanced training, improved supervision, and mandatory verification systems prevent similar errors. Aviation industry worldwide adopts lessons from BA 5390, strengthening maintenance quality control and emphasizing critical task verification. The accident becomes case study for human factors training. Modern aircraft design incorporates improved windscreen installation methods and materials. Plug-type windscreens fitted from inside use cabin pressure to enhance security rather than threatening it. The extraordinary teamwork displayed by BA 5390's crew inspires aviation professionals globally. Their story demonstrates how ordinary people achieve extraordinary results when facing impossible circumstances. Captain Lancaster's survival after prolonged exposure to extreme conditions advances medical understanding of human endurance limits. His case becomes reference for aerospace medicine research. The incident reminds us that aviation safety depends ultimately on human factors, training, procedures, and individual responsibility. Technology cannot substitute for professional diligence and teamwork. BA 5390 proves that miracles happen when skill, courage, and determination combine against overwhelming odds, ensuring all 87 souls return safely home.